The Penrith Panthers, Nathan Cleary's team. Well, that's what they called it. James Maloney left the squad, and there was heaps of doubt on this team. But the fans never gave in hope, and neither did the Panthers themselves. One loss in the 2020 season coming to the hands of the Parramatta Eels at Bankwest. But for those losses, they won every game. They drew with the Knights. They're now on a 16-game win streak. The potential buy of the year in Appy Coruscant up against the player of the year, Nathan Cleary. But can Penrith go all the way on Sunday night? Their opponents are no stranger to grand finals. Craig Bellamy and Cameron Smith, name a better duo. Plenty of finals appearances. Plenty of shared awards. New fellow on the block, Jerome Hughes, switching from fullback to halfback, potentially the best. And what about Pappenhausen? Oh, the speed of Pappenhausen. Some of these matchups are mouth-watering. James Fisher-Harris against Nelson Asafa-Solomona. I can't wait. Will it be the Panthers or the Melbourne Storm?
This bro. I wasn't overstuck. Subscribe to Entertainer. Who's going to get the All-Stars tonight? Yeah, I like to entertain now.
G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a massive video. In this video, not only am I going to be giving my grand final tip, but I'm going to preview the grand final. Hope you guys liked. I like doing things on this channel that you guys don't expect. So that little introduction, something different. If you are an NRL card collector, you do get an exclusive set of premiership winning cards if you get a winning predictor. Now, here you go guys, I've got both the Penrith Panthers and the Melbourne Storm, so I can't wait to do an unboxing of the 2020 grand final cards. But let's get straight into this. The Penrith Panthers up against Melbourne on Sunday night. I will be there. Let's do an analysis of how each team's season's gone before I get into my tip. So guys, for probably the last, I would say 6 weeks, a lot of people in regards to favouritism for the grand final have had the Panthers and the Storm, and here we are. I think a lot of people earlier in the season, including myself, were leaning towards Parramatta and the Roosters quite early on. That was looking like it was a grand final preview. But these Panthers, man, they are killing it. Let's start with the Panthers and their season first. So I mentioned potential buy of the year in Appy Coruscant. Their hooker has done a lot for them. And they started off really well with someone who played off the bench in his first game, who has been named one of the centres of the year. And who I'm talking about, none other than Stephen Crichton. Now, as I mentioned, Nathan Cleary, in my opinion, definitely up there with player of the year, if not the player of the year. This season has been absolutely phenomenal. They kicked off the season as underdogs against the Sydney Roosters, back-to-back champ, coming off a World Club Challenge win as well, 20 points to 14, and Stephen Crichton began his try scoring in that match. Now, I don't have exactly with me here the total, but I would say that Stephen Crichton scored over 13 tries, which is pretty big in this season. I think the most was 20, so I'd say he would probably be just outside the top 5. If you do know the answer to that, let me know. But let's speak about the Panthers themselves. So the last time that they played the Storm, they have a terrible record against this team, but this is a completely different team to what we've seen in previous years, as we've seen in the 2020 season. The Penrith Panthers came away winners at Campbelltown Stadium, so it wasn't even home technically for the Panthers, against the Melbourne Storm, 21 points to 14. I just mentioned him, Stephen Crichton scored a try in that one. Who I remember Viliami Kikau, like a fullback, going over the ball and putting the ball down in the 62nd minute. Pretty much sealed the Panthers win there, but with 4 minutes to go, Nathan Cleary, who we've mentioned it's his team, kicked a field goal. At half-time, Panthers led 8 points to 6. A lot of people were still doubting Penrith at that point, including myself, but the fact that they went all the way in that game. Now, it was a phenomenal game, so if this game is anything compared to what the grand final should be, then it should be an absolutely brilliant clash. There have been points of the season where I've thought Penrith haven't played their best footy, but at the same time, you're on this massive win streak and you deserve to be winning these games that you do, but unconvincingly. I think one of those games was the 22-10 win over the Cowboys at Panthers Stadium. Obviously, the Cowboys scored. Jerome Luai scored. Then the Cowboys led. Oh, it was halftime 4-4, but it was a bit of a comeback from Penrith there with Stephen Crichton and Nathan Cleary, who have been massive for this side, leading the way in that one. The other game that I wasn't too impressed with Penrith was the following week. It was the following week against the Gold Coast Titans. Now, the Gold Coast Titans at this point, they were kind of nothing at this point in the season, round 11, but they turned their season around. I'm not here to talk about the Gold Coast Titans, but they did put up a fight. It was the Gold Coast Titans leading the Panthers, and then on halftime, it was the other way around. And on the halftime, the Titans scored. Halftime, it was the Panthers 16-14. They almost blew that lead, but 22 points to 14. They did keep the Titans scoreless in that second half. Moving on to this game, which was the time that I took Penrith seriously. They played the Canberra Raiders, who were having a great season. Obviously, the loss of Josh Hodgson was huge, but they were having a good season. They were at home, the Panthers, against the Raiders, and they smashed them 28 points to 12. One of my most anticipated games of the 2020 season. It was a bit of a letdown because it was all one-way traffic. Big game from Charles Nickel-Clockstad. But again, Stephen Crichton, he's been phenomenal. Maybe he scored more than 13 tries. Honestly, I think he's done a fantastic job this year. They beat the Brisbane Broncos, the Wooden Spooners, 25 points to 12. So quite a few field goals from Nathan Cleary. I believe it was Nathan Cleary. I'll just check. Yeah, Nathan Cleary in the 76th minute again. There you go. 76th minute. So maybe in the 76th minute, Nathan Cleary will kick a field goal this weekend. Let's speak about their finals. So the Penrith Panthers coming into the finals, favourites against the Sydney Roosters, who are coming off a 60-8 loss to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. And I expected Penrith to win, and they did. Now, I had Penrith to win by 6, I think. And they won this game 29-28. I didn't think they did a convincing job. Now, they started extremely well. The Roosters were a little bit, in my opinion, refed back into the game, but they have a quality side and they competed. Nathan Cleary had an outstanding game, obviously scoring a hat-trick in that one. And again, Stephen Crichton scored in this match. So, Panthers going on there to play the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Now, I don't really do recaps anymore, but I want to speak a little bit about this game. The Rabbitohs had a lot of momentum throughout the game, but the Panthers, both of these sides were pretty terrible in regards to performance on the weekend in the first half. The second half, it was all the Panthers. The Rabbitohs were competing well, but you could tell that the Panthers were going to go on with the job. In this one, Stephen Crichton didn't score, guys. There was penalty goal and 3 conversion, 3 from 3 from Nathan Cleary. It was 20 points to 16. Adam Reynolds almost kicked a 40-20, giving him plenty of momentum in that one. But the Panthers too good, and now they play the Melbourne Storm. Let's get into the Storm season. Now, the Melbourne Storm have had a very up and down season, mostly up, but in regards to personally, it's been a tough year with everything going on there in Victoria for them. Obviously having to relocate to the Sunshine Coast mid-season. Now, they got romped at Amy Park, 22 points to 6 over the Canberra Raiders. Very clinical there. 18-6 Raiders half-time and keeping Melbourne scoreless in that second half. Just not much from Melbourne. Dale Finucane scored. So Dale Finucane scored against the Raiders in the finals and that one. So I didn't know that. There you go. As for Melbourne's really good performances, though, I didn't think that was one. Obviously 50-6 over the Warriors. This one here against the Sydney Roosters, 27 points to 25. What a game of football. The field goal from Ryan Pappenhausen and Luke Keary in this one. And Josh Adokar and Jerome Hughes showing a lot of class in this match. And Paul Momorowski almost getting it into golden point there. Very clinical from the Storm. We've seen that they grind out a win, and that's exactly what they did there. The following week, they beat Canberra 20 points to 14. Romped the Titans. Put a scoreline on the Broncos, which was pretty obvious there. Beat the Bulldogs with an understrength team 41-10. This was a very clinical performance from Melbourne. Now, I want to see who was out because 24 points to 6 over the Sydney Roosters in this one. And I'm pretty sure there were a few players out for one of these teams. Ikavalu. Okay, so it was the Roosters who had outs. The Storm were pretty much full strength. But very good performance there. 24-6 over the Sydney Roosters, who definitely had a good season. Obviously, not where they wanted to be at the end of the season, but they had a great season nonetheless. Attack here was brilliant. Defense was a little bit off. Very high scoring game, 72 points in this one. 9 tries by the Melbourne Storm, including Cameron Smith overpassing Craig Bellamy. It was 32 points to 10 at halftime. Melbourne very clinical there in the first half, and then 50 points to 22 in favour of the Storm over the West Tigers. Good game to watch that one. And I think we're about to get into their final series, really, because there's not much. You can't count round 20. It wasn't really the Storm. So let's talk about finals week 1. Now, I honestly think the Storm didn't win convincingly against the Eels. I thought the Eels, my team, and I might sound a little bit biased here, but I thought the Eels were really good. Obviously, the second half, we kind of let it go, let it slide. It was Parramatta. No, it was 12-all. We let them right back in the 57th minute with the Brenko Lee try. Then Pappenhausen scored. No, not Brenko Lee, sorry. Josh Addo-Carr. Josh Addo-Carr try, I think it was, yeah. I didn't think Melbourne were great in this game, but in the second half, they showed the speed of Pappenhausen, making plenty of run meters, and obviously got them into the prelim. Now, in this prelim, and I can't believe how good they were. Like, they were absolutely amazing against the Canberra Raiders. I'm a little bit worried for Penrith. If they turn up with that start, the Storm will probably win by a lot. Canberra was actually my tip for this one. It was 24 points to 6 in favour of the Storm at halftime. But that is the Storm and the Panthers season. So for the grand final, Brent Naden has been named to play up against Brenko Lee. It'll be interesting to see whether Tyrone May starts in the centres and Naden drops to the bench like the other day. But I think that they've done the best thing they can. Nico Hines gets a grand final chance off the bench. He's been really good for the Storm this year. And Tino Fasuama-Ali. As for the reserve, Paul Momirovski, Tui Kamikamika, Riley Jackson, Tom Eisenhuth, and the Panthers, Spencer Leno, Matt Burton, Dean Vare, and Mitch Kenny. Now, in this game, I'll be supporting the Panthers. I'll be sitting behind the Panthers fans, I think, at the grand final on Sunday night. As long as it comes in time, I'll be wearing a Penrith Panthers t-shirt. Now, if you've been a fan of the channel, I wore a Raiders shirt last year and a Storm grand final in 2018. So when I wear these shirts, they're cursed. Now, I am going to cheer the Panthers. I hope they can get the job done. If I'm speaking on a realistic tip, though, and my tip is I think that the Melbourne Storm will win this. Now, I think they were very clinical last week. I think Penrith will be a lot better than they were. I think they're going to turn up. It's going to be a thrilling grand final. My personal tip, though, is Melbourne to win 24 points to 14. I do think that big Viliami kick out and Penrith have some big forwards that can cause some damage to Melbourne in regards to their defence. But I feel like the Melbourne Storm's attack, and if they can get some big line breaks in your Addo-Carr, Vunivalu or Pappenhausen, even Justin Olam, he's amazing at the moment. I had Ollerman and Nick Kotrick, if you got that tip last week, for try scorers as well. Did fantastic in that one. So I want the Panthers to win. I'm going for the Panthers in regards to cheering. But my tip, if I'm being a realist here, I'm going with the Melbourne Storm to send Cameron Smith out a winner. Obviously, Addo-Carr and Vunivalu, their wingers, leaving as well, out winners. 24 points to 14. But like I always say, hopefully I can eat my words. Hopefully the curse of the shirt breaks. I really don't want it to happen again. So that is my tip. The Melbourne Storm in the grand final. Melbourne to lead at halftime, 16 points to 8, into a Melbourne Storm win, 24 points to 14. Well, that's going to do it for that. And let's get into my best bets. Okay, guys, so obviously sometimes I do good, sometimes I do bad here. Love doing it at the grand final. It's unpredictable. Same with Origin. You never know what's going to happen. So let's get into a couple multis for this game. Obviously, my tip is the Melbourne Storm. So this is one that I think is fairly safe for the most part. I've got the Melbourne Storm to win the grand final head-to-head. Into the Melbourne Storm race to 20 points. Into the Storm racing to 10. So both 10 and 20 Melbourne Storm to score first. I'm taking Penrith plus 16.5. Now, if you don't understand what that means, it means that Penrith have to lose this game or win, but lose the game primarily keep within 16 points of the Melbourne Storm. So basically, if the Storm win 13 plus, they can only win by 14 points. And I think Penrith can do that. I think they've shown a clinical side all year. And as I said, I hope Penrith win. So don't think I'm going against Penrith here. I'm doing my logic tip that I think that the Storm will win, but I'll be cheering on those Panthers. And I'm taking the Penrith Panthers over 11.5 points in the match. Let's have a look at Clive Churchill. Do I have Clive Churchill? That's NFL. Penrith Panthers. So Penrith Panthers to win. Penrith Panthers to win multi. Penrith to win. Team to score the last try. I've got the Panthers to seal the deal with the last try. Neither of these teams to score 40 points. And 2 try scorers. Now the 2 try scorers that I'm going with are Josh Mansour from the Penrith Panthers. Very good experienced winger. I think he'll be in for a big game. He's currently fighting injury off, but I think he'll have a big game. I think he'll score a try. Cameron Munster. So Cameron Munster, Mansour, Panthers win. That one's $48 there. And then this one here, which I think is a good one because I'm staying away from the whole try scoring scenario. And that is neither team to score 30 points. Melbourne Storm to score the first try. The second half to be the highest scoring half. Now, obviously, my tip, at the time, I didn't think it. But the more I think about it. And the Penrith Panthers to keep within 12 points. Clive Churchill pick would be either Nathan Cleary or Cameron Smith. I think it's a given there. And there's good markets with the NRL and AFL combined. But that is going to do it for this video. Let me know your tips in the comments. Let me know your bet. Very keen to send off the winning predictor. Will the Penrith Panthers go all the way in the 2020 season? Or will the Melbourne Storm send Cameron Smith out a winner? I'd love to see the Panthers get up. I'm all around them. I even want to tip them and say the Storm have no chance at winning. But I just think these guys and their experience in finals before will be a little bit too good. So that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, like this video, and drop a comment below. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the grand final, guys.